Hi, it's Sarah from Crafty Creatures here with your Hansel and Gretel breadcrumb painting. So today we're going to need a canvas, our paintbrushes and paints, as well as a pencil, something to wash our brushes in, as well as a paper plate for mixing some colors. So let's get started. First we're going to want our canvas landscape, so wider than it is tall. And right about the middle we're going to add a mostly straight line, just straight across side to side. And I'm going to draw some nice tall trees in the back, just nice bushy shapes, almost like clouds. And then kind of in the middle, we're just going to draw a little pair of people. We're going to keep them simple, just these nice little hill shapes with a little head on top. Now we're going to make a little swirly line like this, just so we can make a line for our breadcrumbs to follow. I'm just going to add some little dots and circles. Just put them here and there and just make them follow along that little path we made. That way it looks like these Hansel and Gretel are leaving this little trail of breadcrumbs behind them. Alright, now it's time to add some trees. So just going to add a couple of straight, thinner trees that go up above the top of the canvas and just straight down to that ground line. I want to add somewhere between 2 and 3. Then we're going to add some bigger trees. These are going to come below our ground line, so they're a bit closer to us. And then last, we're going to add a couple more trees, maybe just 2. These are going to be bigger. They're going to end a lot closer to the bottom of the canvas. And these ones we can have maybe some branches coming off of them, or maybe a fork or 2. Just to make them look a bit detailed because they are closer to us, so we can see their details a bit more. These ones you want to be a lot thicker than your other trees. I'm just going to add one more little tree in the background just because I had a gap there. Alright, that's it for drawing. Now we can erase some of the lines. So we can erase, the lines in the trees just so that they don't show up through our paint. Just make sure you know which line you're erasing so you're not erasing the wrong line. The bigger trees, it's less of a problem because we're going to paint them a lot darker, but it's still good practice to make sure you've cleaned up your drawing a bit before you paint. And of course we've got to get off all those annoying little pieces of eraser. Alright, now it's time to paint. So we're going to start by painting in our sky above our trees, in between all of our bigger trees. We're going to paint it in with straight blue. We want it a bit dark, makes it look a bit spookier. So you might need to use your little brush, or you can use your big brush like me if you can turn it really good and you have a bit of control. But use which brush is most comfortable for you. So once we filled in the sky, we're going to fill in that nice line of bushy trees in the background, and we're going to fill it in with straight green paint. And again, use which brush is most comfortable for you. I'm using the big brush because I'm pretty confident with how well I can tilt the brush and use the edges. Right, next we're going to paint our background trees. Those are the ones that end on that line we made in the beginning. And we're going to paint these in with straight brown. Don't need to mix in any colors, we're just going to use this regular brown because it's a bit lighter. Make sure you're filling in the right trees. I'm also going to make Hansel and Gretel have brown hair, so I'm going to fill in their hair right now. You can use whatever colors you want for them. Just make sure you're filling in the right trees, so just kind of keep looking, making sure you're filling in your farthest away, your skinniest trees. So next we're going to take a good glob or 2 of brown paint, put it on our paper plate, and we're going to make a darker brown. So we're going to make just a little bit of black. You don't want to add too much. We don't want it to be too dark. So I've looked at mine and I realized mine was too dark, so I've added some more brown. You can also add a little dot onto one of your kind of middle trees, and if it looks too dark, you can lighten it up a bit. And we're just going to fill these in with this kind of medium dark brown paint. The reason we're making our trees darker and darker is that as they get closer to us, they get a little bit darker. We can see more of the detail. It just helps create a little bit of perspective. So that's just kind of making a painting look like it's in space. So there's a bit of depth. Some stuff is farther away, some stuff is closer. So next we're going to add some more black paint. Just add little bits at a time because black is very strong as a mixing color. We want to make an even darker brown paint. Again, we can test it. Put a little dot. And if it's too light, you can add a bit more black. If it's too dark, add a bit more brown. And then we're just going to fill in our big trees. So these are the trees closest to us. So once we've filled in those trees, we're going to paint Hansel and Gretel. So I'm giving Hansel and Gretel, they're both going to have, some yellow and red clothing, just because I think it looks nice and bright. But you can paint them however you want. If you want to give them black hair or blonde hair, want to give them a pink dress or a green shirt, you can. Just make sure you can see them really good from the background. Then we are going to get a really, really big glob of yellow paint and just put a little bit of green in it. This is going to make a much more bright yellowish green, so it's going to look different than our background green. And we're going to use this to fill in all of the ground. Don't worry about our little dots for our breadcrumb trail. We will be able to see the pencil marks through this paint, and we'll be able to fill those in after. So one of our last steps is we're going to take some brown, nice good glob of white, and a bit of yellow. We're going to mix a nice light creamy color. Might take a little bit of adding color or adding a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, till you get a color you're happy with. This is kind of the color we're going for, and we're just going to dot it onto our canvas along our breadcrumbs. So we want to cover up the pencil marks we made. So we want to make them nice big globs, just little globby dots all along our trail here. I know it's a little hard to see because my paint is very wet, and my lights I use to record make that very, very shiny. So we just want to add a few here and there along our trail, a few extras. Then we're going to wash our paintbrush, and we're just going to add a little bird in the sky with white. Just make a little kind of V shape, just like that, for a little special bird. And that's it. Good job, everybody. Thanks for painting with me today. I'll see you next time with a new painting. Bye-bye.